So the objective for today is to understand really the significance of humanitarian mapping, and then to learn how to provide significant feedback. As you've all realized, in the past, we've had like a couple of trainings calling for mappers, and mappers. So that means we are building more mappers, and who will be there to clean that data set. That means as validators, as few as we are, we need to provide constructive feedback to make sure we encourage mappers to become validators. Okay, so the other thing is that we are going to learn how to use the actual tool to do validation, and that tool is called JOSM. Okay, so why do we validate? You've heard of different disasters happening in the region. One of it is the cyclone. So that means there is continuous onboarding of new mappers or continuous data creation. So we need to validate that data so that we keep the data of a good quality to improve actually the data that people are mapping, to make sure that it is used for the actual data response. Yeah. The other thing is, once we are doing validation, we realize, or we need to spot vandalism early, which is necessary. Why? Because once you spot it, you'll be able to stop it. So validation is also crucial because it gives confidence to other humanitarian organizations that actually use our data. So once it gives them confidence, they'll be able to rely and depend on our data and actually trust it and come back to use it. Okay. So what is validation? Validation, actually, I would say is the same thing as mapping. Validation is typically checking another previous person's work, while they're looking for accuracy, consistency, and anomaly. Usually for this session, we're going to mainly look at accuracy and consistency. Completeness looks at the different data sets that is added. So for this session specifically, we're going to look at accuracy and consistency. Okay. So again, what is validation? What are the objectives? So once we are mapping, we need to meet requirements for the teams in the field. And once we are doing validation, it's of good help to them that we follow instructions, we read carefully and understand what we are doing. And since we are adding data to OSM, we follow a certain standard, which is the OSM standards. Those OSM standards, there are different OSM wikis, wiki map features. For instance, how do you tag a building? You tag a building. If you don't know the name of the building, just tag it as yes. You don't tag a building as maybe a house, or you don't tag it as a house when you don't know it is a house where people are living, or you don't tag it as by your name or something. So there is a specific standard on which we follow while tagging buildings. I'll share all these links as we start. Okay, like I mentioned earlier on, as a validator, it is very good or recommended that you give beginners feedback, and that feedback should be very encouraging and kind. Remember, once you're a beginner, you're bound to make a mistake. Okay, so in order to sustain the mappers and to encourage them to improve their quality, you tell them what they haven't done well, you explain to them how they can do it better, and you always thank them for mapping. And you encourage them to concentrate on quality instead of quantity. You know, some mappers, when they're mapping, they're competing. I have to have this number of edits, what. So once you realize the mapper is consistently making the same mistakes, chances are high that they are rushing through it. So we encourage them that it's okay to have good quality data than having a lot of data, but it's not of good quality. So what we have in the hot tasking manager is terms and permissions. Sometimes as a beginner validator, you may go and try to validate something and you may not be able to validate it. So once you are doing validation, or you have learned how to validate, it's very key to look at terms and permissions. So not everyone can validate a task and not everyone can map a task. So these are mainly built to control quality, really. Yeah, some projects are really complex, some are remote areas and are good for beginners. So once you are mapping, once you are validating, it's very good to scroll and see who was allowed to map, so you can even understand which kind of mappers were mapping, and you make sure you give them constructive feedback like I had mentioned. So I'll go through this during the actual I also go through this, the contributions. Yeah, so I'm going to scroll up to down where I would just a minute. Yeah, so I want us typically to look at the different, let me first escape. I want us to look at the different common mistakes that we are going to be fixing. Yeah, that's that here. So these are some of the common mistakes that we are most likely to find. We have duplicated nodes. So sometimes when we are mapping, and especially in ID editor, if you've not zoomed in clearly, you may tend to remap something that exists, so you end up having duplicate nodes. This is when another building is over another building, and like on that point of the node, it's like there are two nodes, so it detects this as duplicated nodes. The other problem you're going to find is duplicated ways, okay, where you have two ways that are together on the same place. The other problem that we shall find is building crossing buildings. I'm going to illustrate how to fix these in a few. So buildings tend to be individually. So once they are crossing each other, we need to separate them. Yeah. And when you're doing validation, you're always encouraged not to delete. So instead of deleting, we are always encouraged to do modification. I'll illustrate that. Then crossing ways, a road crossing each other, they're supposed to meet at a certain shared node or an intersection. So these are the common errors. Overlapping ways. Yeah, so sometimes because of internet, or when someone zooms in, or someone doesn't zoom in well in ID editor, they may tend to duplicate, or someone maps in a place that's not downloaded. So these are some of the errors. The other one is a node. A node connects ways or buildings. Like you have a building and it's hanging or attached to a road. That's another another error, common warnings that we shall find, or errors. Then untagged ways. This most likely we're not going to find it, because in the past ID editor, people would map and they would be able to upload their work. Yeah. Just a minute, there's someone at the door. Sorry about that. I'm back. So like I said, untagged ways, you're most likely not going to find these unless someone does not know how to use the building tool in JOSM. But otherwise, in ID editor, once you've not tagged something, it will not it. Okay. Then aware node near another way, like hanging roads. For instance, you remember when you are mapping buildings, rather roads, you have to ensure connectivity. When you see something like this one, where a road is not connected like to the main road, these are some of the common errors. Building inside buildings, sometimes we don't zoom in so well, or because of internet, we end up duplicating buildings. Unnamed roads, ways or roads. So remember, we are mapping remotely. We do not know the names of these places, so we are encouraged to ignore such. You find a road, you do not know the road's name, you ignore that. Another thing is similarly named ways. Like this one is Bombay so these residential roads, some residential roads have similar names, so you tend to ignore that unless you're a local person, you know that area confidently, and you know the name of that road is different from the name of the other road. Yeah. Deprecated tags, like I mentioned, OSM has standards of tagging certain places or certain things. So when it comes to tagging some addresses, for instance, for some it will say is underscore in, but in OSM that is replaced with address underscore province. So if you get any warning called deprecated tag, you go and check and say maybe how do they tag, let me say, addresses in, I would say, for example, in Uganda. So just search that in, and then the OSM wiki will give you all the examples. Okay. So another thing I wanted to tell you, as a validator, your role is not to do mapping. Okay. But if you find someone has literally not mapped at all, it would be very good if you invalidate or you say no. Then you write a comment, you tell them this task is incomplete. These are some of the errors. For instance, someone has not squared their buildings, or they have tagged badly or something like that. Then you make it as no. But if you do have enough time, because invalidating most times helps to send a message to the mapper that there's, to also the trainers and the mapper, that there's need for more training, and to the mapper that they need to concentrate and take more time to map, or if they have no time, to mark it as incomplete. Yeah. But if you're a validator and you do have some time, you can go ahead and do the actual mapping and map. So if you find like there are a few buildings that are not mapped, just go ahead and map them, tag them, ask them to make sure they zoom in, to do more panning, to make sure that they map everything. I hope that is clear. Do we have any questions?
Yes. Using the address instead of is in tags.
Yeah.
Something that I'm actually interested in, because I find them sometimes denoted. But I'm assuming that it has the address colon key has multiple values after that, like city, province, a bunch of different values that you'd have to know or figure out to be able to address those problems.
So in most cases, like if you say is in, you go and you can even just copy is in underscore, then you search in OSM wiki. How is this, how does this apply maybe for my country or for your country? And then it will give you options. Okay, let me see. We just use this example here. OSM wiki. Then there's a search panel here. Let's say is underscore in. Let's see what they tell us. See? So this is underscore. It's probably mainly used in countries like Germany. What? So let's say, can just say address. Address. This double D. Sorry. Address street, address posts, key. Say maybe address as a key. As key. Why isn't it coming?
It's just at the bottom of the page.
You don't seem to see it. I don't know why.
It was on the previous page, just a bit, a little longer.
So there's usually a description here. There's somewhere that is okay. So all this mapping depends on your country. Yeah. So if for instance, what I'm trying to say is, if you get, it may not bring it, but if it brings it, you just go and check, like in that country, how do they tag addresses? Is it is_n, or is it address then the name? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, but sometimes
Yeah.
it depends. So they might use a is in and then just a name of something.
Yeah.
And then if you want to address that as a validator and not just remove that information, then you would have to find some other source. Maybe it's some administrative boundary, and you say that it's in a particular province or a district or something like that.
Exactly.
You'll need to
Exactly. I'll need to see.
cross-reference it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll need to find, there's somewhere where the OSM wiki that says all this is dependent, is_n is used between this region, then address underscore, then like underscore the name is also used in this region. So all these things are dependent on boundaries, like I had mentioned. Yeah. Like you have also clarified. Any other questions? Like there are some places that call their places like province. There's some that call the districts. There's some that call, yeah.
Yeah, I guess the question that I'm really asking is, sometimes actually this is a great example. So if you see in this set of tags, you have the key is in and then Pampanga. How, well, this is the thing. How would you know what value is Pampanga? Is it a city, a province, etc.? How would you, as a validator, figure out what proper key, whether to call it a province, a city, a district, whatever it is, to actually use to fix that?
So this is usually used for provinces or districts.
Okay.
From my experience. So once you find such a problem, you try to add in the address. If it doesn't work, so you need to look for, but they're usually switching between these two. Yeah, I think I'll have to just get some more time and look for the proper OSM wiki that talks about this. Maybe let me try to. Yeah. Otherwise, do you have any other question? Let's see.
No, I just wanted to say that on, I think, previous slide, there was just another, I feel like, kind of error, which is roads going to a common node, even though the junction is sometimes offset. And it may not be just the one before, I think, 0.8, maybe? No.
Like, you mean the hanging road?
No. If you just go down a little bit, it's within the, I think it's street names is where I remember it being.
This one?
No, not quite. That is another thing, though. Sometimes
Street names is this one. Yeah.
Here. So the intersection between, I think it's road number 3 and
1, 2, 3.
Well, 2 in that case, if you want to count it that way, and then the junction with the northeast, southwest road.
You mean this one, this side?
No, on the left.
This on the left.
And there's a junction there which like curves down so that it meets a common node. That was yeah. But I feel like that one probably should be straight on. And just have two two nodes close to one another, but not actually join at the same spot.
Yeah. So when you're mapping roads, the most important thing is you don't have like to follow no. Let me just go into the actual mapping. Actually, we are going to discuss that. So when you are mapping nodes, it doesn't have to be like perfect node, like small nodes. You can skip a bit. And maybe another thing is sometimes because of the rush and all that, someone may not make like the perfect curve. So it's something that is common. Yeah, but it's not like so bad. So for those, I don't know if we have anyone that has not used JOSM before, but if you haven't, you may need to download it. You go to your browser, you just type in the word JOSM. Download. And you just make sure you download the version that works for you. If you're using Ubuntu software, you go ahead and download this one. If you're using Mac computer, you go ahead. If you're Windows, you go ahead and use that. For those that are using Windows, I always recommend to use the tested version. This newest version usually has a bit of bugs. Yeah. And then I don't know if still some people say Java, but Java supports JOSM to run. So you go Java download. You also go ahead and download Java. The same thing with Java, you download the one that works for your computer, depending on the operating system that is running. So once you have both two of those, you will have something like this. Okay. So I'm just going to go through, where is that? Yeah, this is the tasking manager. Usually we use it for collaborative mapping. And we tend to use this so that we can be able to capture any mistakes easily, other than having people map scatter. Like, imagine we just come and we map in Kenya. It would be very difficult to curb our errors in case there are any. So we have this for collaborative mapping. If you have time, it's okay. You can just go ahead. Usually it's advised to understand why you're mapping for, the job description. And what I wanted to show you here is the teams and permissions. So I've left this one open because I want us to practice on this for those that have not validated before, just for practice. But usually we restrict it to mappers only that have in teams or actually I'm going to open it. Mappers who are in teams or advanced or intermediate mappers. So why do we do restrictions? We don't want anyone that hasn't been trained to just come and do validation. Okay. So another interesting thing here that I always like to show people is the questions and comments. So sometimes you might open a project and you realize, I think the project manager would have chosen Esri to map this project, because most of the tasks I'm selecting, Esri is okay. Just communicate it there. Or maybe you're mapping or validating someone and you realize there's something like fishy, as if they're doing data vandalism. They are coming in and just mapping anyhow, anything you get. This is an easier way to communicate to the project manager to watch out for those. Literally anything that you'd like to discuss in regards to the project, you go ahead and map here rather than text it there. So another interesting thing that I can't seem to see it here. Okay, here you go. Another interesting thing here is, so the data that you're creating, you can actually download it as an individual or community and use it for your own purpose, okay? So the data that you're going to create today, you can be able to download the buildings that we have mapped in this entire area as a shapefile, as a JSON, a KML, whatever you want, whether roads or buildings, for your own personal project. And the other thing is OSMCha, which we are going to learn today. And then you can be able to view who is mapping, who is validating, if you want more stats. And once you've completed, there are similar projects here. So go ahead and just say contribute. Yeah, so as we are learning validation, we can tasks. So as you're learning validation, sometimes you join your community group and you want to support on validation while they're doing mapathons. Right here, you can easily filter out recently updated tasks so that you contribute and give live feedback. Okay, so you come right here, recently mapped, and you'll be able to give live feedback. So this is also nice. Instructions, very key to learn. For today, you can ignore, but always good to learn, because I'm going to do a step. I'm going to illustrate on how to do the actual validation or the mapping. Contribution, if you'd like to know who is contributing on what, who is mapping and what. Or you can know the levels, you can search by user, etc. So right here, you can, I'm not going to repeat this unless we need to, but this is just a legend. White, you need to available for mapping. Light blue, validation. Sometimes mappers don't complete, so they invalidate and it turns to more mapping needed. Green is finished mapping. Maybe the other thing that I'm going to talk about is priority areas. So sometimes the project managers create projects and they want you to concentrate on a certain part of the project because they intend to go to the field. So in case you see a pink boundary around it, please prioritize that area, both validation and mapping, to enable project managers finish the remote mapping so that they can go to the field and add additional information on what you've created. You good? Any questions there? Okay, if there are no questions, I will go ahead and just explain to you the interface. So unlike ID editor, JOSM has different plugins that you need to install before you start the actual mapping. So once you have your JOSM set like this, you go to Edit, Preferences, and Plugins. Okay. I don't know if there's someone who can help me type this, but the first thing you need to do is to type in the word buildings. Make sure you have checked in your buildings tool. Okay. The next thing that you need to do is called the util. The util is going to help you download more editing tools, to make your mapping simpler, etc. Then the other thing that I usually like, and it also helps with data quality checks, is the mapathona. Okay, so number one, just to iterate, number one is the buildings tool. Okay, number three is the util. Rather, number two is util. Number three, the one with the hammer and this other tool. Then, is that a screwdriver? Then the other one is mapathona. Okay. Once you have those checked and updated into your plugins, you're good to go. So once you have done that, you need to come and activate your expert mode. Again, the expert mode enables you to have the different tools that simplifies mapping. Once you've done the expert mode, you come to what they call the remote control. So what the remote control does is it connects our tasking manager with JOSM. Once you're done with the remote control, the other key thing is the OSM server. And you choose basic authentication. Okay, basic authentication. These others may need like website links, what. So choose the basic authentication where you enter in your correct OSM username and correct password. Why do you do this? Because you want everything you validate or map is attributed to your name. And again, something nice that I always like to do is language. We are coming from different places. Someone may prefer French, someone may prefer Dutch, someone may prefer German, okay, these languages, not like our local language. There are no local African languages here, but the main languages that we use globally, most of them, if not, they're all here. So preferably choose the one that you like. Okay. So once you've done those things, you've uploaded your plugins, you've activated your plugins, your expert mode is in check, your remote control is in check, you've entered in your correct OSM name and password, you're good to go. Any questions on that? If there are no questions, and maybe something to tell you that once you're a beginner validator, ensure that you're selecting task per task. There's what they call mass validation, where you can select it up. It permits you to select different tasks, but I don't recommend this for once very crowded places, and the second time if it's your time to validate. So you just span through, select one task and say validate. Then it runs. Okay. Good. So we'll just go through the interface. We have the main bar where it has the imagery. If you need to switch imagery, it has the mapathona. Okay, that I'll show you how to use this. It has windows. So you see under this windows, in case you close anything by mistake, if for instance I close layers and I can't see my layers, I just come to Windows and I activate it. If I close tags, I can come to Windows and activate it, so you don't need to worry. Okay, so here is where you anything you get in the information panel here is here, in case you close it by mistake. Okay, and then we have these different tools. Remember when I told you we should activate our expert mode? In case you forget to activate it, you can still activate it here under view. For instance, if I close my expert mode, you see all the other important tools that I can use, the exclude tool, they all disappear. So if you do not have your expert mode activated, you have something like this. But if you have it activated, you see different tools, additional tools will be added that will make your life much easier. And then more tools were added once we activated our utils. Again, we have so many things we can do here. This one we shall learn them with time. Yeah, so help if this other one, if you want to know the version of your JOSM, you can know it from here. Someone asks you which version of JOSM are you using? Probably is it because if you want to report a bug, you can just span through and see how it works. So the information panel, this one is very key. So the layer that you're working on, make sure it is the one on top. Okay, and it is green ticked. Yeah. If it is not, this is what will happen. You will see your data, but everything will be blurred out. So once you see something like this, make sure you see, is it the layer? No. If it's not, you come and just double click on it. Okay. And then another thing I liked, some people say, Becky, your screen is brighter or something. There's something that you can also do. So there's this eye, you make sure you select the imagery in case you want to improve the visibility of your imagery. And then you come and select the eye, then you can play around the colorfulness. You see, once I adjust it, you can play around the gamma, make it lighter, the way you like it. And then you can play around the sharpness, as you can see here. So once you're adjusting this visibility, remember it's only happening for you. So you don't have to worry that you're tampering with anyone's work. Yeah. So again, tags and membership. This is where you'll see what is tagged as what. For instance, here, building, yes. This is a road, it's tagged as unclassified. And then the other thing is author. So if you do not enter in your correct stuff, this will not happen. Probably you'll be mapping for air. I don't know what will happen. Then filters, we shall learn how to add these, etc. So you see all that are here. Once you do not see them, there's a button here that you can click and bring them up here. So in case you're missing something here, and remember you activated your expert mode, you can always find in this drop down here. Any questions? Okay, we are left with, I wanted us to do OSMCha at least. So when you're doing validation, remember we are looking out for unsquared buildings. We are looking out for buildings that are crossing each other. We are looking out for intercrossing roads. We have to make sure there's connectivity, etc.
Just one thing I'll state for beginners as well. If you hover over some of these tools, and you press the F1 key on your keyboard, it will give you more additional information on how to use it. So you've always got some kind of a reference if you've got any questions.
Yeah, that's nice. Are you using an Apple computer? Mac?
No, I've got Windows.
Okay.
But just if you put the cursor over some of the tools, like for example the buildings plugin, and you click F1, then you'll see that it shows a helpful menu for all the different items.
Let's say you said F1.
Mm-hmm.
F1. Just F1 or Shift F1?
Just F1. And that hopefully should open up a helpful window with some explanation of how to use the tools.
This F1. Yeah. Okay, this is nice. So yeah, there's also that. There's also Learn OSM. There's also this, and then yeah, that's nice. So as you're doing validation, sometimes you are in a crowded, like you find like there are lots of buildings, lots of roads. Just a minute. I'm back. Sorry about that. So you realize that there are lots of features to like work on. So I always recommend people to use filters. Yeah. And sometimes there are like lots of buildings and you would like to square them all at once. So we are going to learn how to apply filters. So for starters, I guess everyone knows what a building is, but just to iterate, we have to look man-made features, usually have shape to them. So you look at stuff with shape. It could be a square, it could be a rectangle, it could be circular, especially in African regions, etc. And then most times the roof color looks different from the environment. So you look out for that as well. And then shadows. Buildings tend to have shadows. Like, yeah. Like here, okay? So for starters, usually when I'm doing validation, I like to apply my filter. So I'm just going to close these other files. I like to apply my filters. Yeah, before I apply filters, we have what they call map paint styles. So for instance, if this was like, if you see my map paint styles are on, it automatically tells me that there's an overlapping building. But if I did not have my map paint style on, inline validation, it wouldn't show it. So if you have these filters on, the map paint styles, it just enables you to, it outlines for you vividly the different areas in your task, okay? So I'm going to show you how to add that. I'll just go to edit, preferences, map paint styles. Okay. So you are going to come here and you search for inline validation. I'm going to show you what it does. So you select it and you push it aside. The other one that I always like to use is missing maps. Select that and add here. Yeah, for today, I'm going to show you only those two. There's some different map paint styles for identifying roads, the one for Apple and etc. But these two are really good. And again, you can actually you can create your own different map styles. There's a process for that in OSM Wiki if you're very innovative and you like to to do such stuff. Yeah. So for these two, basically, like I showed you, with this on, it is going to show me buildings are overlapping each other. Okay. Or if I had another road, I'm just using this for example. Just a minute. I want to create another error. I'll just undo this. Or if I have, let me see. We'll tag this as, let me tag it as a road, rather highway. Highway equals, let me see, unclassified. Just do like an intersect each other, just a minute. One show blue. I don't know why it's not showing, but anyway, it will also show me, for instance, if I name this, let me say I name it as name equals Becky house. It will, if I have, for instance, my missing maps on, if it is off, if it is on, it will highlight it. So there's these people who map buildings and tag them by their names, which is incorrect. So it will help me flag such kind of things. It will also help me flag if there's a building inside the building. For instance, if I'm to do this, if I was to run, I don't know why it's not bringing, but it's supposed to bring an error.
Yeah, it may just be because your inline validation is not turned on.
Yes, sorry, yes, it's supposed to bring something like that. Since my inline validation was off, I wasn't seeing anything, but I turned it on, I could see that. The same thing if there's a road intersecting, okay? The same, the one of missing maps, I don't know, it shows different things. Once you run, you'll see it. In case like you have named something differently. For instance, if I say area equals yes. Remember in OSM, we don't tag stuff like that. I say area equals yes, and then it will give it a color. Maybe building equals area, let's see. Let me tag it as building equals area. Okay, if I tag something like building equals area, we don't tag buildings as areas, we tag them as yes, or if you know it's an apartment or something like that. So typically, if you tag something different from the OSM standard, it will flag it. So this is very important to have. So I'm going to just undo everything to have, okay, to have everything the way it was. So another thing that once my map painters are checked in, I'm good to go. I'll leave that. And then I'll come to adding filters. So there are several filters that I tend to add. One of them is building equals all. How do you do that? Just come here, you type in building equals all, a star is or a star. And you come down here, you find it. I typed the word building. So you can as well come here and edit it. You make sure the thing is well typed, apply, and that's it. See, it will select for you everything as a building. Here, you can square everything at once, but remember, there is something that is circular. So if I'm to select everything, Shift U, and then I press Q, yeah, I will square these that are circular. Okay, so to avoid that, I tend to add other filters. These filters, you can learn them with time. One of them, I can say, let me only square buildings that have 4 corners. So I'll come and select buildings that have 4 corners. How do I add that filter? Let me first remove it and show you how to add that filter. So you come to view, type in the word building, equals, space, yes, then another space, just say the word nodes, then a double column, 4. Okay, then apply the filter. I'll come down to the bottom and it will select for me buildings only with 4 corners, so that I can just slit it, shift U, and square everything at once. See, I'll come and adjust, and then with my inline validator to show me you've squared everything, but there are some things overlapping, so I can easily come here and fix the thing. How do I do that? I come to my inline, to this screw tool. I just scroll here and scroll here, scroll here and scroll here. Just separate them like that. Okay, I'm coming to these others that are not well shaped. So after that, remember, we have others that have several corners. So for standard, I usually use the one that have, let me say, is it 9 corners? So I'll go back to my inline, rather I come here, then I say, I want for it to select for me buildings, but those buildings, I'll put this. I want those buildings all everything with buildings, yes. But this time, the nodes, I want them to have at least minus 10 nodes. Let's see what happens. So once I've done that, once you unselecting something, make sure you unselect everything. So I'll come here. Okay. It has selected for me. No, I haven't. I need to edit this filter. Let me see. Just a minute. Building. Yes. No, it's negative. It should select everything. Just a minute. Okay. Minus. Let's say minus 9. Okay. Just a minute. I wanted to select with this other one, so let me edit this. And to edit it. So when I say minus, let's say minus 5. It's still not selecting it. Maybe 11. Let's see. Minus 11 as the limit. Yeah. So you get. So this means it's going to select everything that has 11 corners and above. So usually circular buildings have more than that. So what you do is that you just play around the different number of nodes that your buildings might have. So here I would be able to, I can just slit it, shift U and square everything, plus this one with an extra corner.
1 minute, Becky. There's a question from JOSM. You can go ahead.
It's not so much a question, but there's a plugin that helps you select unsquared and uncircularized buildings. It's the Mapathona plugin. So you've got it at the top there. Oh,
I'm going to illustrate that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to illustrate that as well. So why, yeah, so that is another way you can do. So again, these extra corners, you keep removing them. So you go ahead and fix the corners. So that's another thing. And then after you remove these other filters, once you've removed the filters, you'll be able to see these other, you will not have squared these other ones, these other circular stuff. Okay. So another thing, I'm just going to create some unsquared stuff. Hope this will work. Another thing that I don't know if Bob was mentioning is the Mapathona. The Mapathona can help you select and non-orthogonal buildings. This means unsquared stuff. So when I select here, it selects it, this that I've created. I don't know why it's not selecting the other ones, but it selects for you. For instance, if I'm to go back to the actual, I would come to the Mapathona, select non-orthogonal, and then it will select for me everything that isn't squared, and then I'll go ahead and square. The same thing, you can select the ones that are not well rounded. If there is any, you can do that. This is the same thing that the filter does. So I was just showing you different options. So sometimes you might have to filter out, maybe someone wants to know the number of circular buildings in this area, or the number of different types. So these filters are really helpful to use. Okay. So and after I've done that, I will come again. Why I like to square everything at once. Sometimes when you're using the extrude tool, it would, if something is not very well squared, it wouldn't work very well. So I'll come and apply my buildings filter, because I want to work on step by step. So I come, just zoom into the area, use my extrude tool, double click on this other side, drag it, drag this. Remember, when we are mapping the building footprints, not not the shadows. So I just make sure everything is well aligned. If I feel like this is not proper, it needs to be, I can press Ctrl and Shift to rotate it. If, for instance, I feel like this is very big, I can press Ctrl Alt to adjust it. Okay. Okay. And all these shortcuts are inside here. Shortcuts, are they? Keyboard shortcuts. So they are for learning with time. You don't have to worry that you don't know them. So again, I will just adjust, make sure I move it like that. And as you can see here, there is a vegetation, there is tree. This does not necessarily mean that this house ends here. So just because there's a tree covering it, I'll just extend it up to a bit this corner and I'll be done. I'll zoom in. I can even just select all these, Shift U, and I move this aside. It looks like this is one building, but someone mapped it as multiple. So to avoid that, I will just use the same buildings. I'll come and do this. I join them all. After I've joined everything, I can just hold my Control key and select everything, or slit it and select everything, and then I Shift J. Instead, remember, we are not permitted to do a lot of deletion, but modification is the best. Once I do this, the history of everyone will be left. Okay, so I would press Q to square, and then I'll just delete these extra corners that I think are not necessary. So this is what a validator does. I'll press Q. I'll just move it a bit here, and I think this is also not necessary. I'll move it and press Q, and I think I'm done. I'll delete this extra node, and this is connecting to this, so I would just Control Shift and move it a bit like that, and then I will double click here and drag it. Yeah, double click and drag. I'll click here and drag this, just move. Then I'll delete this extra node, not necessary. I'll move this here. Okay, I think this is okay. Just adjust the corners, and then there's something here that's not mapped. And maybe I'll use this chance also to illustrate what the Mapathona can do. So I'll come and collect the line tool. So to be sure that this area is actually not mapped, I'll just do a small download, but I'll add it to this current layer. So I'm sure that there's nothing here mapped, so I can map it. Again, to judge whether or not to map, when you're doing the actual mapping, if most of it is in your task, go ahead and map it. If not, you leave it. But if you have time, you can just download the small area and then you map it. Okay. So when I'm using the line, I get 2 corners of this building. Since this other one was not mapped, so I'm going to drag it here and also map 2 corners. Then I can come to my Mapathona and say, create for me a bunch of orthogonal buildings, and it will map for me this one and this other one. So that's another thing you can use the Mapathona for. Remember, we don't map shadows. This is what I was trying to tell you. If something is not well squared, that's why most times I tend to square everything at once. Imagine this is what will happen. So I make sure I square. I just zoom in to see if there is no extra node on it. Then I'll come and use my extrude tool and it will work perfectly. Okay. So that is, so I'm just going to pan through and just make sure everything is well mapped. This looks to have like a corner here, like an extension, and then this here. Okay, so building size is very key because when they're doing planning, they use the size they can use the size of the building to do populations, to calculate the population size. So that is key. So again, I feel like this, maybe it's like that. Okay. So if I'm happy with everything here, I've panned through, I've made sure I've mapped everything, I'll just go ahead and upload my work. So I like to add that I have added and modified. So I'm going to show you why I added this in OSMCha. I hope I'll get 10 buildings. Okay, then I'll go and upload. So right now I'm done. Has it uploaded? Not yet. Mine. Buildings. The server reported an error with this. Okay, let's go and see preferences. It's my correct username and password. Again. Hey, what's the problem? Basic authentication. Is anyone facing the same problem?
It's a recent change, I believe, in OSM that they've worked to
I was actually
try
told
to move
that.
people to OAuth 2.0.
Come again, I didn't hear you clearly.
It's just a recent change. I think they're trying to move people to use the version 2.0 over the authentication.
Ah, I didn't know.
So like we're supposed to use 2.0 or something like that.
Hey, to update my JOSM.
No, like the authentication bit. We're
Hey.
supposed to, instead of basic, I think you're supposed to use 2.0.
Okay, let's try and see. Taking some time then. I didn't know 2.4.
Rebecca? I
Yes,
think,
please.
listen, you have to have the latest version of JOSM for the 2.0 to come up in your authentication. So if you've got an older version of JOSM, then you can't change to 2.0. So you need a newer edition of JOSM.
Okay.
How advisable is it to keep updating JOSM? Because there was a time when I would periodically, every time there was an update, I update. But then it got to a time and it was so glitchy and I was advised not to update. So which is better?
You don't have to update every single time there is an update. However, it is important for you to continuously check that you haven't missed too many updates, because there are new tools and new fixes that are put into JOSM all the time. So it will be necessary, as in this case. Of course, the permissions oath authorization has now changed, and some people are running into problems because they don't know how to change to 2.0 because they don't have the latest JOSM. The latest JOSM actually does show 2.0 in your options to select.
Okay, I will update that. Thank you for that. I think I've taken some time without checking. I've been using this JOSM, but I've not had any troubles. Anyway, so the other thing that when we are doing validation, the other key thing to note is the connectivity of the roads, okay? So when you select the road, then you press on your keyboard Control-Shift-E, it will select for you every building that's connected. Now, for instance, if I want to do something here, this is an imaginary road, okay? And I'm going to do another imaginary road here. So I'll tag this as a path, a highway, path. And I'm going to tag this as a tertiary, no, as a track, okay? And then I have this track here hanging, let's say G. And I'll have also this hanging. And remember, the one I created here is connected. So I'm going to select any road, basically, but the one that has most connections. So I'll select probably this one, and then I'll say Control-Shift-E. And then you realize that it has selected for me everything, okay? So I'll pan through the map and make sure I check which one hasn't it connected. Then I see it's this one. So here I can easily just select it and make sure it has connected. Okay, so that's the other thing I do. So once I've done that, I'm good to go. I'll go ahead and upload, which I'm not permitted right now, and then I will come to my where is it? Here, and then I will write a comment. Okay, so I remember the person did not square some buildings, they had some extra hanging nodes, and yeah, but the mapping was pretty good. Yeah, so I'll go ahead. Actually, to think of it, I have let me see, OSM, come on, OSM.org. I have a diary that I wrote on giving feedback to mappers. You're allowed to copy and paste, you're allowed to copy and paste and modify. This is basically for feedback that you give while validating buildings, okay? There are different scenarios here, buildings that are not squared, buildings, some people map several buildings as one, overlapping buildings, different case studies here that you can easily copy and paste. So I'm going to copy this. For instance, there are a couple of unsquared buildings, so I'll just come and paste it here. No, come on. Maybe I'll say you can go ahead and speak at that person. It won't permit me. Oh yeah, now I remember why. So I've been creating some GeoJSONs and I've been getting that error so often. Like last week, yeah, and I think it has been telling me update. Now I understand what that means. Thank God for this training. Anyway,
have
at Eric. Yes, go ahead.
I thought a JOSM automatically squares the buildings, provided it's building, yes. I thought it was editor where you had to square the buildings.
Yes, you're very right. JOSM does square automatically, but remember, we are validating beginner mappers. So the
Right.
beginner mappers usually use ID editor where they forget to square the buildings.
Noted. Thank you.
Yeah. So you just say at Eric, this person, whoever the person is, if there are different mappers, there's a way of telling who is who. So you just select that. You can know the person that mapped the building that wasn't squared. The other thing to do is, for instance, you could just do Shift U, and you here on authors, you can be able to see different mappers. So if I double click, actually, if I'm mapping and I select everything, I can double click and it will select for me the actual mapper. Then I would know actually it is this other person who is not squaring their buildings. It's not the other mapper. So I can be able to tag the specific mapper. Okay. So I'll come here, add my comment, like this one, for instance, well mapped, but please ensure your buildings are squared after tagging them. Then you tell them how to do it. Then you tell them keep up the mapping. Many thanks. Eh? So if me as a beginner mapper, I come and I find a validator has given me such a feedback, I would be very happy about it. Be like, hey, they're checking my work. This is very kind. This is what I'm doing, other than leaving them hanging or sending them a very rude message or something. So to keep our mapping going, we need to encourage other mappers to map by giving them constructive, kind feedback. Yeah, so that's one of the examples. Then you go ahead and submit. Okay, if there's like a lot of mapping that needs to be done, you again say no. You give them feedback. You can use this diary if you would like, and you keep giving them feedback so that they know how they can correct their mistakes. So in the interest of time, I'm going to go directly to OSMCha. I don't know if we shall get time to play the GeoGuessr game. So I will just go through these slides just for information. So you remember quality assurance or validation is very important. We are recruiting many mappers all the time, so we need to make sure that the quality of data that is entering is actually good for our data to be trusted, like I mentioned earlier on. And again, remember, OSM is free, anyone can edit. We have beginner mappers, some are not trained very well, some are trained, but they tend to make mistakes. So to maintain the quality, we need to, the sustainability of the quality of our data, we need to critically continue cleaning it up. So one of the tools that we use is called, we have already done JOSM, so it's called OSMCha. OSMCha is typically an OSM dataset analyzer that is designed to review uploads or OSM changes. It allows you to filter by name, location, dates, and other metadata features like I'm going to illustrate. So I don't know, I would like us to do this together. If you can type in, let me see if I can copy this and share. Let's do this together, guys. Just follow that link with me. Are you there? I'm already here. So once you have followed that link, I'll guess you're there. Any hands up or any yeses? Please let me know.
Yep.
Yeah, we're there. Go ahead, Becky.
Awesome. So I don't know if you've logged in. If you haven't, you may need to log in. Just click here and use your normal OSM username and password. Once you have logged in, you'll see this is how it will look like. Okay. Or, okay. Okay. You're there?
Yes, I am.
Just a minute. I want it to open automatically like yours. Okay. So once you open this, you've logged in, you see your name. For starters, even before like you enter anyone's name, you see the data set has already ordered for you, like the person that has edited for the last 5 minutes. Remember those days when you're uploading, for instance, let me show you. When you're uploading and then you said, would you like someone to view your edits? So once you say yes.
Becky, 1 minute. Sorry to interrupt. There is a hand up. John,
Yes,
you can go ahead. Hi, John. I can see your hand up. Is that a
maybe
mistake?
it's an old hand.
Maybe, yeah, it could be.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
go
John,
ahead.
in case you want to ask, you can just let me know. So I was saying, remember that time when you're uploading and then you say you would like someone to view your edits? So this is when it will flag it and prioritize it up here. Most times people who do this are people that are beginner mappers and would like people to check and give them feedback. Yeah.
I'm not a beginner mapper, but I always do it just to be sure.
Yeah, most cases they're beginner, but some people like to add up a second eye. But one thing for sure is that whether you mark it or not, the project will eventually be validated. But when you mark it and someone is using OSMCha to monitor the data quality, they will have it will be like on top, to be put as priority, as you can see here. Okay. So this color, I'm not very good at colors, guys. So this is it green? This
like
green,
Voice,
I don't know.
voice,
I
I
have
think.
those usually no colors, but me it felt. Anyway, this color that's like green is it implies that this person edited 7 change sets. These are like 7 change sets or 7 edits. And then rather not change sets, edits. A change set is an upload, sorry. So this brown just shows that they modified. And this red is deletion. Okay. So if I want to know people, remember we are not advised to delete. If I want to know by ascending deletion. No, not ascending, say I don't know why they're not putting it. Descending, see? Now here, people who do massive deletion, if I want to check like why are these people deleting, I can filter out and I check. Once I click on it, there's a map panel here that as it loads, let me just go through here. So right here, remember when I told you it's always good to write a comment on why you're doing something. So sometimes you're deleting something because someone has duplicated a lot of them, you've modified, and that's why you're deleting. Or sometimes you're deleting because you had like the person duplicated a lot of things, you had no option but to delete them. Now, if you have modified something, this is where the comment is. So this person is saying I deleted buildings so that they can replace them with new mappers footprints from the latest source. This is not correct to do. You can merge or you can update. So sorry for buildings missing. I'll try to add them as soon as possible. So you can come and see. What this mapper did is actually very bad. Chances are very high that if these buildings had like local information, that means it's all gone. It's all gone. So as a data quality experience mapper, you can even revert this change set. Or if you're working in this area, you can turn this change set and correct it. Okay. Yeah, I think this needs to be reverted. You cannot delete all this work. Oh my God. Oh my God.
For a little time before, like you let him know before you revert. I think he intends to revert them himself. He knows what he did wasn't right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, if I had the jurisdiction of this area, or maybe I I was working on this area and I have some sort of jurisdiction, like maybe the work that we're working in Zambia, and I'm responsible for that project, I would revert this change set. So this is how you catch errors. Yeah, but this is something that we are not encouraged to do. Someone took their time to create this data set that has been used for a very long time. Just because there are new building footprints does not mean you delete the whole district data. Probably this has a lot of information. We can actually view this in, we can view this in what? We can view this in the different tools. Anyway, that's it. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you is the number message. So if I decide to revert this change set, I could write for them here a reason as to why I feel I should revert this change set. It is very, I feel like this is like data vandalism to me. So I feel like this is data vandalism, what, I'm going to revert this change set. There's a better way to work to like merge the old data set with the new data set. Probably explain to them how they can do this, and I revert everything. But then I'm going to leave it at that. But this is the point where you add. And then here, this is the user's name. So this user, how you can even tell that this user is doing data vandalism. This user just joined OSM just a month ago. That means they're not very much familiar with OSM standards or OSM methodologies of doing things. They have just joined, they do not know much, etc. So this is how, and you realize they are doing it several times. They're just doing it like yesterday. This person should, I don't know, probably there's someone who reached out to them, but this is not allowed. Okay, this is not allowed really. Is Ralph there?
Hello, Becky. Yes, I am here. If you come across this, or just remember, when you are using OSMCha, you are no longer focused on the projects that we are using on the tasking manager. The OSMCha looks at all of OpenStreetMap. Please, validators, do not do anything about something like this. Rather report it to me. It's very likely that the data quality people from OpenStreetMap will be going through this and contacting the mapper and talking to the mapper before they do anything about it. And if necessary, they will put a complete block on the person from doing any further mapping on OpenStreetMap. If it is during or on a project that we are working on, please report it to me. I have the power to be able to block them on the tasking manager so that they don't do any more damage while we are busy clearing up. So please do not take it upon yourselves to revert anything. There may be a reason behind this person doing it. They may have a group of people out on the street doing a survey and checking and re-adding the buildings. As the person says, I will try add them back as soon as possible. This needs to be discussed. So please do not do any reverting. Please discuss it with me. And I can check with the data quality working group at OpenStreetMap to see what is happening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So that's why I mentioned, if it is in my jurisdiction, if it's a project I'm managing, I have the mandate to go ahead to go ahead and revert the change sets because I'm the project manager and I know the intentions of the project, etc. So this is how you catch.
1 minute, Becky, before you proceed. Thanks, Ralph, for the feedback. I see another hand. You can go ahead, Grace.
Oh yeah, I just basically wanted to say again, just reference that change set for the fact that they're asking, people to contact them before reverting, just to get clarification on what's actually happening. Also, yes, if you ever do make reverts, basically say that it's a must that you have to provide some kind of a reason to say why it is that you're doing that.
Yeah, great. So again, this is how you can know, and then I'll show you how you can monitor your own personal projects or your own team in a bit. So there are different, in the interest of time, I'm going to leave this, but there are different criteria on how you can like do different filters to see who is mapping what and what you would like to check right here. So the other thing that I really wanted to show, I guess you can again come through and see this here, or you can see all this. Oh, this is a new tool, OSM Revert. This is new. You can still see this, open this in your JOSM or ID editor. So depending on the let's see, my JOSM needs to be updated. Let me use ID editor just to show you that it actually opens in those tools. Okay, so you can review that, and then you fix the different errors. Okay, so another thing is filters, the one that I really love. Now you can have your team. Like for instance, the project we are working on is go to instructions, and then I'll get the hashtag comment, and I can monitor all the data quality issues in regards to this project. So I'll enter in here my hashtag, and I'm going to go. And then I can also enter in the time span. For instance, I could say I would like to know the different data quality issues for today. So I'll just say today. Today is the 19th. Just from today, like just the today's range, and then I can go ahead and say apply. It's going to search. I hope we've done some validation. We haven't. That means we haven't done anything. Anyway, let me give it a gap. Let's say from June the 19th to date. Let's see, apply. No one has done anything on this project. It's impossible.
This particular project, you didn't make it accessible for us. We still don't have the permission.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's why. Why did you mention
that part eventually?
Okay. Let me. I need to stop everything. Let me adjust that. So I'll need to monitor this personally. Permissions. I will change this just for practice. I'll monitor it. Anyway, as it loads, let us see. I don't know why it's not adding. People are not
556, right?
it's like 2 months ago. Anyway, I don't know why it's not. When did the person do the last edit? Is it 2 months ago? Let me do here. Let's see to date. Wait. The problem is the filter. Maybe ascending date. Anywho, why is it acting like this? Come on, don't do this to me. Why? Should work. Let me reduce the hashtags and I see.
Actually open now.
Yours is opening. Yeah, maybe the hashtags are confusing. So I can actually tell these people added and modified. Doesn't look like there's too much problem. There's not much deletion being done. Let's see this one that deleted. That's why you see when I am like uploading, I always encourage people like to write a comment. Like imagine if the other person that was deleting 1,000 stuff didn't write any reason to put you into this state of why did the person delete? Why did you don't give them like a benefit of a doubt. Now, because they wrote that comment, when we read it, we gave it a benefit of the doubt. I'll put it back. I get, yeah. So when you delete something and you say, I deleted these several things because a beginner mapper duplicated a lot of buildings, which I could not keep them, or I had nowhere to place them, what. So it gives someone like a reason as why to deleted. So for this case, I would look around and see. I could actually hope my JOSM will open this time. They say open with JOSM. Okay. Oh my God, now I clearly understand as it's loading. I clearly understand why I've been getting these errors last week. Because like what's wrong with my JOSM? I'll upload it, I'll update it. So you can go through, you can open this in ID editor, and then you'll be able to check like why is this person deleting it? You see maybe they deleted because it's in space, or you see they're continuously deleting things that shouldn't be deleted. Then there, you can again write them a comment. If it's into your jurisdiction, if it's your community project that you're managing, you can revert the change set comment. If it is something very massive like we have showed, you can go ahead and inform like Ralph and other people. Even me, you can inform me if you don't have direct contact with Ralph. I'll communicate that with Ralph, and then they will do what is required. So sometimes you want to monitor specific people. So I want, imagine you have a team of 5 people. If you don't mind, you can share your OSM username in the chat so that I can add it here. So there are different, you can actually pan through and see there are different things you can add, filters here that you can use. You can be more strict on what exactly you want to see. Is it buildings only? Which kind of amenities? Is it primary roads? You can review specific change sets if you have the change sets IDs. Yeah, there's several things you can do here. You can even put a strict bounding box if you want it to pan through a specific area of interest, etc. So again, you can again search on the map. You can say maybe today I want to see, maybe to do some data quality around Tanzania, or I want to do actually in Congo, wherever you prefer. Or you can have a specific change set comment, or you have a team and they're working on a specific project and you want to what? You want to monitor their data quality issues. So for instance, I'll enter in mine, which is that. Someone else, if you can add for me your number here. Is that your, no, but is that your OSM username? I will add this. Any other person? This one. There. Let me add maybe one more. Okay. Come on. Okay, so that. So I'm going to remove this filter so that it can just, and then, so if I want to monitor these people, if I want again to come back and just keep seeing like how our team is working, are we doing more modification than deletion, what are we deleting, why are we deleting, etc. I can save this or I can save it. I can give it a team name. Maybe I can say validator team. Maybe say 2024. Then I save this. I can also apply. Okay. So you'll see different census comments that Norbert has been doing. Okay, you go to their different pages. You'll see the different guides. Looks like Norbert is doing more mapping than the rest of us. So you can keep switching. Okay. So another thing that this is the other person. There are other comments like impossible imports. There are these people like us who do a lot of mapping, like you map like 1,000 or maybe let me say 900 buildings, and then you upload them at once. That's not bad. Okay, that is not bad. So you can just clarify that, and come on, and then you realize this person was just adding several buildings. That's okay. At once, they mapped a lot of buildings at once. That's fine. Yeah. So again, you can do that to monitor your team. So if I want to come back to my filter, I can just come back here. I say my saved filters. And then I have this. These are some past people that I've been working with. I can delete it if I feel it's unnecessary anymore. Like this, I can delete it. It can go, or I can keep it active. Okay. So that is how you can do. There are several many ways, which, because of the interest of time, I wanted us to play a game, but they are, with continuous trainings or sessions, we shall learn different other many ways how we can utilize OSMCha. I hope this was very helpful. Do we have any other questions? So another thing that I just wanted to mention, I'm going to leave, let me close this. I've closed the project. I'm going to leave that project open. So guys, please, that's the OSM guesser. Let me first stop sharing my screen. I am going to leave that project open. Please endeavor to do validation. The importance of this is that at the end of it is that we have learned how to do validation, and then we support the region on improving the quality of data. So yeah, do we have any questions? Do you have any questions? If we don't have questions, has anyone played GeoGuessr before?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so I just shared the link in the chat, and I will be sharing my screen. I hope this is how. Okay, I'm going to invite players. Okay, I'm sharing this one. Let's follow this next one. I don't know if we shall be able to finish. The ones who are, if you did not have time, feel free to move. Otherwise, thank you so much all for joining. For those that will be leaving us playing this game, I want us to have some fun time playing the game. Let's see who knows the world better than the other.
I don't claim to know the world at all.
No, don't worry. It's just like the title. It's a guessing game. I also don't know. I do not know anything.
Okay, what am I supposed to do with the lovely lady on my screen?
Just join. I'm going to start the playing.
I only have a shuffle option. Basically, that is it. Open my 2024's party, then shuffle, and then the lovely lady.
Yeah, just wait. I haven't yet started. I'm waiting for guys to join. Please join.
As a guest, right?
Sorry?
I'm playing as a guest.
Yeah, playing as a guest.
Okay.
How many people have joined by show of yes or no or hi or something? I'm seeing Brenda has joined.
I'm waiting for the host to start the game.
Okay. Okay, I'm waiting for a couple of us to join. So I'm going to leave that project open. Please go ahead and do some validation. If you have any questions, we have open platforms where we give each other feedback. I don't know, Wilson, if you can please help me share the WhatsApp group and what else? WhatsApp group. What else are we sharing? And
Probably
our
the
social media yeah. So another thing that I intend to do these different trainings so that we can, and then to recruit like regional validators. If you're interested, that will be very good. We shall have that as well.
Would
Okay.
that be face-to-face kind of validation? And validation?
Come again?
The regional validators, will it be more of an in-person thing?
So we intend to have community meetups.
Oh, nice. Sign me for that one.
Yeah, I'm still preparing, so I'm going to just reach out after.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me see. Okay. Let us see. We have how many people in? 8. 8. Should we start? Other people are not interested in our game.
Some people are slow, but they're on their way.
Okay, let's give them a minute. Just 1 more minute. Okay, guys, join. Let's have some fun. This game is just for guessing. I do not know these places. Some places I've never reached. Just click anywhere you think is that place in the world. Okay. So I'm going to start the game. It will. Let us play. So which place do you think this is? Let us see the kind of vegetation. So
this is, how can you guess just
guess? See, that's the game. I think it is somewhere in the US. Just guess.
And where do I put my answer?
You just click anywhere. Let me actually say it is in maybe in Ireland. Then guess like that.
Germany.
Let's wait and see.
Where do we put our answers?
Just click and say guess.
Okay.
The game ends in 40. How come it's too long? In 41, in a few seconds. 38 now. You just pan through the map beside you and you click anywhere you think that place looks like. Am I sharing my screen? I hope you can see my screen, right?
We can, yes. There's a slippy map on the right hand side of the screen. You can zoom in and out to get around.
This timing is really long, huh? Oh, it's me who selected quickly.
No, it's not long at all, considering some of. Oh, okay, yes.
So let's see. Hey, which place is it? It says Switzerland. Geneva. Yeah. I have 200 points. Let's see.
Game.
Next. Is on top.
February.
Okay. Which place do you think? Which countries have this kind of roads? Let's see. Delta. Safaricom. Anyone who knows this place? Anyone who knows this place? Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. It's really long, right? It's taking long. Okay, where do you think that place is? So what happens is if you select the place quickly, you get some points if it's correct. And again, if the place is near, depending on the meters or the distance from it. So yeah. Wait and see. It's ending in 11 seconds. Yay! Ah! The place is in Kenya. Next. Okay, so the blood, the number plate. Which place do you guys this is? What do you think this is? Hey, my God, my God, my God, which class? There is a word here, parking. Guys, which place do you think this is? But there is a white person. That means it's not in Africa. That means it is not in Africa. Ah, now people who know these things already know. What is this? Is it like a toothpaste company or something? AB what? There's some whites here. There's a baby. There's a poster. Ooh, maybe it's in USA. Maybe it's in the States. Who knows? Who knows,
I mean, I
guys?
think I've got it.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Let me span through and we see. There could be some indicator somewhere. Ah, which country does, which logo is this? Is it a, let me guess.
So, oh shit, that's hilarious. I almost forgot to guess. Not bad.
It is in where? In some place in London. It's in, what's it?
Bournemouth, seems.
Yes. Bournemouth. I got on the 38. Next round.
Oh, you finally made my way to the map.
Okay, guys, which place is this? There's a white man here holding some.
Oh,
There's some cars. Which type of car is this? John Walker or something. Oh my God. Oh my God, which place is this? There are some tall buildings. West Point. Guys,
I get closer to that.
Is this
Oh, okay.
Someone has gotten it.
It's not that I've gotten it. I'm trying to refine.
There's a club name here.
But my browser is super slow. So I'm
Guys,
going to be
which
able to
place
find
is
it.
this? Oh my God.
I could do that. I guess I could do. Wow.
There are some tall buildings. If you know this place, this is not in Africa.
I mean, I think
guess.
I've got the country, but not.
Is it in
Not the city or anything like that.
maybe Spain, Madrid? This kind of vegetation. Is this maybe in summer or something? Okay, let me guess.
Oh yeah, that's only a few seconds. That's fine. Really?
Ah, the place is called. Which state is this?
Bulgaria.
How do you pronounce this? Plovd. Okay. Whatever. But it's hey, why did I say the place was? I said it's in Madrid. I got some points. Final round, guys. Final round. I hope I can get the People who know these places now, what is this? This vegetation. This is not in Africa.
The signpost should say it all, but I'm afraid it still doesn't give me a hint.
I think if there's someone who stays in this place, this is not Africa. Maybe Germany. Let me try. Let me put my
Germany.
This kind of grassland is not for Africa. But I think someone who lives in the West should have an idea. Isn't it? There's like a... you want me? Let's see. Like a nice good field here. I think it's some place that it really has... Let's see. Guys, is there any sign here? Let me guess. Yay! That was so cool. This time I don't know what orange. Oh my god! And the winners are who is Sigma? Who is Sigma? Sigmink.
That one has totally like, oh my god.
It's me. No, they're all guys.
Them.
Oh my god, I'm number 3. Yay! Let me take a screenshot of this. I cannot believe. Do you know I'm always among the last? Practice makes perfect. Oh my god.
For a first time number 7, I'm in single digits, so surely.
Who is Gregory?
That's right here.
Shut up. Who is number 1? Tell us. I've really enjoyed this. Let me take a screenshot. I'll ask someone to do for me an animation of this and I share on social media. Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Becky,
Yes?
Sigmig is Ralph.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god. It had to be you. I am not surprised. I am not surprised. And who is Gregory? Please. Say
Yeah,
something.
right. Yeah, I've been saying. It's just that the African thing. I didn't get close enough to the actual thing.
I don't see Wilson. Where is Wilson?
Wilson did not play.
No, I wasn't playing. I was just lurking in the background. Eh?
A coward.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I hope this was nice. I will
Yeah,
stop
it
sharing my
was.
screen.
One quick one, Betty. Tim, don't forget to join the chat group. I shared the link in the chat. The WhatsApp group, I mean.
Yeah. And again, I think, Gregory, this is your first time to come. I'm very pleased. Thank you so much for joining us. You're very much welcome all the time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. I'll see what the next sessions are like.
Yeah, I'll get everyone posted. Ralph, again, thank you so much for joining us. It is always a pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And please remember to contribute to the project that you shared. I just want to see the impact of these trainings, if we need to adjust our training, how we need to improve, etc. I hope you enjoyed the game. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Wilson. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, Ralph.
I will end the call. Thank you so much, everyone.